and welcome back. Today we're diving into the Italian Renaissance with Botticelli's Venus and Mars.
Venus and Mars.
Yeah.
Such a fascinating piece.
Yeah, and we've got some really interesting sources for this deep dive, a kind of mix of like scholarly stuff and then a lecture that was like more for, just people who love art.
Feels like a good mix.
Yeah, so we're going to be able to go like, I don't know, beneath the surface, right?
Definitely, yeah.
Not just look at how pretty it is, but figure out what Botticelli was trying to say. Like, what's the message?
Yeah, uncover those hidden messages. I think there's even a little bit of humor woven in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like a Renaissance inside joke. Well, I mean, even just glancing at this painting, it's like walking onto the set of a Renaissance sitcom.
It is, yeah.
Venus is just chilling there, fully dressed, looking super alert and awake.
Right, very composed.
And then there's Mars, passed out, totally naked, just sprawled out next to her.
And he's not exactly a small guy, is he?
No, not at all. And then to add to all that, you've got these little satyrs in the background.
Causing trouble as usual.
Oh, absolutely. Playing with Mars's armor, making a racket. Botticelli even makes you feel the noise coming from the scene.
He does, yes. Visually, I mean. You can almost hear the satyrs banging the armor around, those wasps buzzing.
And Mars snoring. It's incredible how he does that.
Definitely. It begs the question, though, why this moment? Why did Botticelli choose this particular scene to paint? It's not the typical, dramatic climax we see in other Venus and Mars paintings.
Right. Usually artists focus on the scandalous love affair, right? Vulcan's trap, the whole public humiliation thing. But here...
It's like he's showing us a different ending, a quieter moment.
Right.
Almost domesticated, wouldn't you say?
Totally. It's like Botticelli gave us a glimpse into their lives after all the drama died down.
It's intriguing. So how do we make sense of this? Why the deviation from the usual narrative? Well, to crack this code, we need to consider a few things.
Okay, like what?
First, who likely paid for this piece and why? Most scholars agree it was probably made for the Vespucci family.
Okay, the Vespucci family from Florence, right.
Exactly. There's some pretty compelling evidence. For one, we have Vasari, who mentions that Botticelli did some work for the Vespucci family.
Right, Vasari, the art historian, biographer.
Exactly. He's a pretty reliable source. And on top of that, there's this clever visual pun in the painting itself. Those pesky wasps buzzing around Mars. Vespe, you see, means wasps in Italian.
Oh, I see. A little nod to the family name. A Vespucci family inside joke.
Precisely. A little Easter egg hidden in plain sight. So we've got the likely patron. Now, what about the purpose? Well, it's believed this painting was what's called a spalliera, a large rectangular painting, specially designed for a specific room in Florentine palaces. The camera.
Not just any old bedroom, right. It was kind of a multi-purpose space.
You got it.
Right.
For sleeping, sure, but also entertaining, sometimes even for business dealings. It was a room where you'd show off your wealth and your status.
Right, like a status symbol. Okay, so let's put the pieces together. We have a prominent family, a room designed to impress, and this very, very atypical depiction of Venus and Mars. Anything else we should add to the mix?
How about Venus herself? She's completely clothed, composed, almost detached. Quite a departure from the typical portrayal of her as, this goddess of passion and beauty.
Yeah, that's true. She's almost observing Mars, like with this, I don't know, maternal gaze. It makes you think, knowing what we do about the camera and how important appearances were, this can't be a coincidence.
You're picking up what Botticelli's putting down. Remember, there was this widespread belief in Renaissance Florence that beautiful images could actually influence conception.
Whoa, really?
Oh, yeah. And for powerful families like the Vespuccis, having a male heir was everything.
Ah, so maybe this painting wasn't just art. It was like, I don't know, a visual good luck charm for a happy marriage, lots of kids, and hopefully lots of sons.
You hit the nail on the head. It's like a subtle nudge toward producing those much-desired male heirs. This speaks to the power of art, not just to entertain, but to influence and persuade, in these subtle yet powerful ways.
Wow, that's incredible. And Botticelli, I mean, the guy was clearly brilliant, but he wasn't just a talented painter, right? He was super connected to all the big thinkers of his day.
Absolutely. We can't forget his ties to Lorenzo de' Medici, the unofficial ruler of Florence and a major patron of the arts. Botticelli was moving in these elite intellectual circles.
Right, the Medici family, the power players, the tastemakers. Okay, so tell me more about these intellectual circles. What was going on in Florence at that time?
Well, this was the era of humanism, a movement that was sweeping through Europe, but especially strong in Florence.
Humanism. Okay, refresh my memory. What's that all about again?
It was all about reviving classical knowledge, Greek and Roman stuff. But it wasn't just about studying old texts. It was about finding ways to apply that knowledge to contemporary life.
So like a Renaissance remix of ancient wisdom.
Exactly. Taking the best of the past and making it work for the present.
And Botticelli's Venus and Mars is like a perfect example of that.
It is, yeah.
He takes this classical myth, but he reinterprets it through this humanist lens, exploring themes of love, harmony, but within the context of marriage in Renaissance Florence.
You got it. And that's what makes this painting so fascinating to unpack. You've got all these different layers, the myth, the history, those personal desires.
It's like a visual tapestry with all these threads connecting everything.
Exactly. And that's what makes this deep dive so rewarding. The more we explore, the more we uncover, the richer our understanding becomes. Like we're peeling back layers of time.
And uncovering not just the story of this painting, but the story of an entire era.
Exactly. And the story of human nature itself. I mean, the themes in this painting, love, desire, even the power dynamics, those are timeless, universal.
Absolutely. I mean, anyone who's ever been in love or even just frustrated with a snoring partner, they can connect with this scene on some level.
That's so true.
Yeah.
But it also reminds us that even the great artists were human too, with senses of humor and a willingness to play with expectations.
Totally. Okay, so we've touched on the humor, but what about the intellectual side? What were some of the big ideas that Botticelli was wrestling with in this piece?
Well, as we mentioned, he was deeply entrenched in the humanist movement that was sweeping Florence.
Right. Humanism, that revival of classical knowledge and applying it to life in the present.
Exactly. And Botticelli's Venus and Mars embodies that spirit. He's drawing on a classical myth, but reinterpreting it through that humanist lens. Exploring themes of love, harmony, the power of beauty, all within this very specific context.
The context of marriage and family in Renaissance Florence, yeah, it really is a multi-layered tapestry with each thread revealing something new. It's incredible how much depth is packed into a single painting.
It is, yeah. It's what makes this deep dive so rewarding. The more we explore, the more we uncover. It's like we're peeling back layers of time and uncovering not just the story of the painting, but the story of an entire era.
And the story of human nature, wouldn't you say? I mean, the themes explored in this painting, love, desire, power, even humor, they're timeless, universal.
Absolutely. And that's why Venus and Mars continues to resonate with audiences even centuries later. It speaks to something fundamental within us, regardless of our background or historical knowledge.
It's a testament to the power of art, to transcend time and cultural boundaries, to connect us to the past and to illuminate the present.
It is, yeah.
It's like Botticelli is holding up a mirror and inviting us to reflect on our own experiences, our own understanding of love, beauty, and the human condition.
And that reflection, that moment of connection, that's what makes art so powerful and enduring.
That's beautifully put. So we've talked about the main players, Venus, Mars, the satyrs. But what about some of the other details in this painting? What else should we be paying attention to?
You're right. Sometimes those seemingly insignificant details hold the biggest clues. Let's start with the landscape. It's not just a pretty backdrop. It's very carefully constructed to reinforce the themes of the painting.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What should we be looking for?
Well, notice the lush greenery, that dense forest. It creates a sense of peace, fertility, even a hint of wildness. The perfect setting for a love affair, but a love affair that has been tamed, domesticated, if you will.
Oh, I see. So it ties back to that idea of marital love, right? Blending passion and stability.
Exactly. And then there's the myrtle bush behind Venus. Myrtle was a symbol of marriage and fidelity in Renaissance art. It's subtle, but it reinforces that connection to the institution of marriage.
Like a hidden message, whispering about the context in which this scene unfolds.
Precisely. Botticelli was a master of visual storytelling. Every element, every detail conveys meaning.
That's the tiniest details.
Especially the tiniest details. It's like he's challenging us to look closer, to go beyond the obvious.
I love that. Speaking of looking closer, have you noticed those 4 little birds in the background? They're perched on the tree trunk behind Mars. They seem so peaceful amidst all the festivities.
You noticed that, huh? You've got a good eye. And yes, those birds, they're not just random. They actually represent the calm and tranquility that love can bring, even in the midst of chaos.
It's like a visual metaphor for, finding peace even when you're surrounded by,
snoring gods and mischievous satyrs.
They're all great.
They also play into those themes of fertility and renewal. Birds were often associated with new life, the promise of spring.
So they connect back to that idea of a fruitful marriage, the potential for offspring, all those hopes and dreams wrapped up in this one scene.
Exactly. And that, of course, brings us back to the likely purpose of this painting. A wedding gift, a visual charm for a happy and prosperous union.
It's incredible how all these elements work together. It's a testament to Botticelli's mastery of composition and symbolism. Like he's giving us a glimpse into the soul of Renaissance Florence, its values, its beliefs, its aspirations.
Absolutely. He was a true virtuoso, able to weave together complex ideas and emotions into a single captivating image.
It really is a privilege to be able to engage with a masterpiece like this, to unpack its secrets and to appreciate its enduring power.
Yeah.
And to think we've only just scratched the surface.
There's always more to discover, more to ponder, more to appreciate.
It truly is a journey of endless fascination. So where should we go next? What other mysteries are waiting to be uncovered?
Well, so far we've focused mostly on the visual aspects, right? The symbolism, the composition.
Yeah.
But there's another layer we haven't touched on yet. The literary influences that shaped Botticelli's work.
Ah, yes. Earlier we mentioned his connection to all those humanist scholars and their passion for classical texts. But how did those texts actually influence Venus and Mars?
Well, one key source is the Roman poet Ovid, specifically his epic poem Metamorphoses.
Metamorphoses, yeah. I vaguely remember reading that in college. Ovid tells the story of Venus and Mars' affair, right?
He does, but he also goes into detail about their contrasting personalities.
So Venus, the goddess of love, all grace and beauty, and Mars, the god of war, impulsive and, well, prone to violence.
Exactly. And Botticelli captures that contrast so beautifully in his painting.
Right. Venus is calm, she's collected, while Mars is completely surrendered to sleep, oblivious to the chaos around him.
It's almost as if she's tamed his wild energy with her love, brought peace and harmony to the scene.
It's a beautiful idea that love can conquer even the most aggressive forces.
It is, yeah. And this idea of love conquering war was really popular in Renaissance art. It reflected that humanist belief in the power of beauty and reason to overcome conflict and violence.
It's a message that's still so relevant today, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That love can heal divisions and bring about a more harmonious world.
And Botticelli conveys this message not just through the imagery, but through the overall mood of the painting. It's serene, idyllic. It's far removed from the violence and bloodshed we usually associate with Mars, the god of war.
Yeah, he's creating a visual utopia, a world where love reigns supreme.
And that idealized vision of love would have resonated deeply with the intended audience, right? A newlywed couple embarking on their new life together.
Exactly. It's like a visual blessing, a wish for a happy and harmonious union.
It's a testament to the power of art, not just to entertain, but to inspire and to uplift. It's a reminder that even amidst life's challenges, love can offer us a sense of peace and hope. So we've talked about Ovid and Metamorphoses. Were there any other literary influences that might have informed Botticelli's vision?
Well, there's another key figure we should mention, Lucretius, a Roman poet and philosopher.
Lucretius, okay, and what did he write?
His most famous work is this philosophical poem called On the Nature of Things.
Okay, and what does that have to do with Venus and Mars?
Well, in this poem, Lucretius describes Mars as being vanquished by the wound of love, utterly captivated by Venus's charms.
Ah, okay, so that explains why Mars is sound asleep. He's not just tired, he's completely smitten. Love drunk, maybe?
You got it. And Lucretius goes on to say that in Venus's presence, Mars lays his weapons aside, again, emphasizing this idea of love triumphing over war.
It's like Botticelli took these poetic descriptions and translated them into visual form, created a scene that's both beautiful and intellectually stimulating.
Exactly. It's a reminder that these Renaissance artists weren't just skilled craftspeople. They were intellectuals, deeply immersed in classical literature and philosophy.
True Renaissance men.
Absolutely. And that deep knowledge of these texts enriched their art. It added layers of meaning and symbolism that we're still uncovering and trying to understand today.
It's like a treasure hunt through history, each clue bringing us closer to the heart of Botticelli's genius.
And closer to the heart of the Renaissance itself.
I love that. It's a journey of discovery, and I'm thrilled to be on it with you.
Me too.